What I'm hearing you say isn't just to manage time, but it sounds like you are also taking into account when you should be, like the order of operations. Can you expand on that? Because it sounds like a task at a certain time is much easier or even cost you less time versus doing it at a different time. It might not be the best thing for you.
That's a great point. So, sort of flipping back to energy management, if I know that naturally I'm a morning person, I wake up and I'm like Snow White, the birds are singing, the sun is shining. I am so happy every morning. But towards the end of the day, I start to get fatigued a little bit. I can get a little bit grumpy. That might not be the best time for somebody to ask me for something. I need to put the tasks that I know I like the least during my high energy time because I'm going to get through them quicker. I'm going to show up with a different sense of urgency around them and know that I still have the entire day ahead of me after I complete those items. Versus if I save them for the end of the day, it's going to take me longer. I'm going to pout about it more, and I'm probably not going to give it my all.
Yeah, and then you get into this pattern of becoming avoidant around something, and then that task becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. How often have we seen this pattern pop up in some of the highest performers that we end up working with, and then they're just in a constant state of go, 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 regardless of that level of energy. I want to stick on energy management a little bit more. What are some of the common, I would say, either patterns or pitfalls that you've seen with the high achiever group that we work with when it comes to either time or energy management?
One of the biggest pitfalls is that everybody thinks that you need to give 100% effort to every single task you're going to complete. And I am here to tell you not to do that. The way that I like to explain this to other people in a way that resonates is you only need to get an A plus on a very small number of things that you're doing, the things that really matter. This is like you're creating a template that the company is going to use over and over again, and every single prospect is going to see it. Get an A plus on those visuals and the content that you're putting in there and the stories that you're telling versus if I am writing an internal email, I don't need to sit and think about that for 45 minutes. I don't need to run it through ChatGPT to get 3 different versions to make sure that I'm sending the best email back. That is not an A plus activity. Get a B. A B is good enough for that.
Yeah. And how do you teach that to very, very high performers? Because one of the pitfalls that I've seen with high performers is they have really high standards. Often they're perfectionists and they want to be able to get an A plus on all the things. And they want to be able to do everything in such a short amount of time. And often they have the workload of 3 to 5 people on them at the same time. So, how do you teach that persona that it is okay to actually end up getting a B in some cases?
I think giving hard limits and holding somebody accountable to those limits so that they can experience what happens on the other side of allowing yourself to spend more time on those A plus activities, but not the same amount of time on the B and C activities and what those actual outcomes are, what happens, what's the impact. Sometimes people aren't going to change behaviors on their own. Sometimes it's that accountability that helps them try something that's way outside of that comfort zone the first time, and then their body experiencing what actually happened when they let that play out, what the impact is. That's what's necessary to create that change.
I couldn't agree more. One of the top things I see popping up is that level of high performer anxiety. And I actually notice a lot of high performers wanting to hold on to that level of like, constantly feeling like the other shoe's going to drop, constantly feeling like there's some sort of a fire that's coming up, and that hyper vigilance. And so many high performers end up saying, I need to keep that because that's the thing that makes me productive. When in reality, when they learn how to be able to sustain that level of performance without having access to this level of just what if the other shoe drops and what are all the other things I can do, I see folks becoming so much more productive and actually getting so much more done, but doing it in a way that's easier for them.